Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. And today we got a really interesting one, I think. This one's really going to make you think.
Yeah, this is one of those films that just stays with you. You watch it and you just can't stop thinking about it.
It really gets under your skin, doesn't it?
It does. It makes you question everything you thought you knew about reality, about truth.
Well, let's not keep people in suspense any longer. What film are we diving into today?
Today, we're taking a deep dive into The Truman Show.
The Truman Show, a film that I feel like I've heard about a million times,
Yeah.
but I have to admit I haven't actually seen it.
Oh, you're in for a treat. It's a classic.
Well, before we jump into all the nitty-gritty details, can you give us a quick rundown of what The Truman Show is all about?
Sure. So imagine this. You wake up one morning and you realize that your entire life has been a TV show.
Okay, that's a pretty wild concept.
Right. And that's the premise of The Truman Show. We follow Truman Burbank, who lives in this seemingly perfect town called Sea Haven.
Sea Haven sounds idyllic.
It is, on the surface. But here's the catch. Sea Haven is actually a giant TV studio, and everyone in Truman's life is an actor.
Wait, so he has no idea that his whole world is fake?
Nope. He's been living this manufactured reality since birth, with millions of people watching his every move.
Wow, that's kind of creepy when you think about it.
It is, and that's what makes The Truman Show so brilliant. It takes this outlandish concept and turns it into a thought-provoking commentary on reality, media, and the nature of truth.
So how does Truman eventually figure out what's going on?
Well, at first he starts noticing these little inconsistencies, like a studio light falling from the sky or his dead father suddenly reappearing.
Ah, those classic movie tropes.
Yeah.
Always a sign that something's not quite right.
Exactly. And as these inconsistencies pile up, Truman's suspicion grows. He starts to question everything he's ever known.
So who's the mastermind behind this whole charade?
That would be Christoph, the show's creator.
Christoph. What a name.
Right. It's almost like a godlike figure. And that's kind of the point. He's this all-powerful entity who controls every aspect of Truman's life.
So why does he do it? Why create this elaborate fake world?
I think there are a few layers to that. On one level, it's about entertainment. Christoph wants to create the most authentic, most compelling reality show ever made.
But at what cost? I mean, isn't that kind of unethical?
Oh, absolutely. The Truman Show raises all sorts of questions about exploitation, privacy, and the boundaries of entertainment.
Yeah, I can see how this film would really get people talking.
It did, and it still does. It's one of those films that's as relevant today as it was when it was released.
So Truman's trapped in this fake world. But is there anyone who tries to help him? Anyone who tries to tell him the truth?
There is. There's Sylvia, a young woman who falls for Truman and tries to warn him about what's really going on.
So she's like the voice of reason in this crazy world.
Exactly.
Right.
And their relationship, though brief, is really powerful. It represents this yearning for authenticity, for genuine connection in a world that's completely artificial.
I'm sensing a theme here.
Oh, The Truman Show is full of themes.
Yeah.
It's about reality versus illusion, free will versus determinism, the power of media.
It's like a giant metaphor for our modern lives.
In many ways, it is, and that's why it's so fascinating to unpack.
Well, I'm definitely intrigued. I can't wait to hear more about Truman's journey, his escape, and the ultimate message of the film.
Oh, we're just getting started. There's so much more to dive into.
Okay, well then let's dive in.
All right, let's get into it.
So, we've established that Truman's world is fake. But how does the film actually reveal that to the audience? Are there any visual clues or hints that something is off?
Oh, absolutely. The film is full of subtle, and sometimes not so subtle, hints that things aren't what they seem.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Well, for starters, there's the falling studio light you mentioned earlier. It literally crashes down from the sky, shattering the illusion of a natural world.
Yeah, that's a pretty big giveaway.
Right. Then there are these more subtle things, like the way background actors repeat the same actions, almost like they're stuck in a loop.
Ah, so the film is kind of playing with our perception of reality.
Exactly. It's making us question what's real and what's staged. And as Truman starts to notice these inconsistencies, so do we.
It's like we're going on this journey of discovery right alongside him.
That's a great way to put it. The film really puts us in Truman's shoes, allowing us to experience his growing paranoia and his ultimate awakening.
So what are some of the other ways the film reveals the artificiality of Truman's world?
Well, there's this one scene where Truman tries to escape Sea Haven by bus, but every time he tries to board, something conveniently prevents him from doing so.
Oh, I've seen that in other movies. It's like fate, or in this case, the director, is keeping him trapped.
Exactly. And then there's this whole subplot about Truman's childhood fear of water, which stems from a traumatic incident where his father supposedly drowned.
Okay, I'm guessing that incident wasn't exactly what it seemed.
You guessed it. It turns out that Christoph orchestrated the whole thing, using Truman's fear to keep him from ever wanting to leave Sea Haven.
Wow, that's pretty messed up.
Hmm.
Talk about control.
Right. It really highlights the extent of Christoph's manipulation. And it also raises questions about the nature of trauma and how it can be used to control people.
So we've got these visual clues, these strange coincidences, and this whole backstory designed to keep Truman trapped. What else is the film doing to build this sense of unease?
Well, there's the whole aspect of product placement, which is so over the top that it becomes almost comical.
Product placement, you mean like advertising within the show?
Exactly. But in The Truman Show, it's taken to a whole new level. Meryl, Truman's wife, constantly interrupts conversations to gush about various products.
I can imagine that would get pretty annoying after a while.
It does, and it's
Looks fun.
supposed to. It's a way of highlighting the commercialization of Truman's life, the fact that even his most intimate moments are being sold to an audience.
So it's not just about entertainment, it's about profit too.
Absolutely. The Truman Show is a commentary on the media industry, the blurring of lines between reality and fiction, and the ways in which we're all commodified in a consumerist society.
That's a lot to unpack.
It is, but it's what makes the film so thought-provoking. It's not just a fun sci-fi romp. It's a film that really makes you think about the world around you.
So with all these clues and hints, does Truman ever catch on? Does he ever start to suspect that something's not right?
Oh, he does, and that's where things really get interesting.
I bet. So how does he start to piece things together? What's his aha moment?
Well, it's not so much a single moment as it is a gradual awakening.
Okay, so walk me through it.
Well, as those inconsistencies pile up, Truman starts to become increasingly paranoid. He notices patterns, like the way certain people always seem to show up at the same time and place.
Like he's starting to see through the matrix.
Exactly. And then there's this incredible scene where Truman is driving through town and he starts predicting what's going to happen next.
Like he's reading from a script.
Right. He knows when the traffic light is going to change. He knows what the other drivers are going to do. It's both hilarious and heartbreaking because you realize he's figured it out. Yeah. He knows his world is fake.
And how does he react to that realization?
Well, at first he's terrified. He doesn't know who to trust or what to believe.
I can only imagine.
But then something shifts in him. He becomes determined to break free.
To escape from this manufactured reality.
Exactly. And that's where the real adventure begins.
Okay, now you've got me hooked. I can't wait to hear about Truman's escape and what happens next.
We'll get to that. But first, I want to talk a little bit more about Christoph, the show's creator.
Oh yes, the puppet master himself. What's his deal? Is he just a power-hungry TV producer, or is there more to him than that?
That's the question, isn't it? And it's one of the things that makes The Truman Show so fascinating. Christoph is a complex character full of contradictions.
Okay, so give me the rundown. What makes him tick?
Well, on the surface, he's this visionary TV producer who wants to create the most authentic, most compelling show ever made. And in a way, he succeeds. He's created this entire world, this living, breathing ecosystem that revolves around Truman.
But it's a fake world, a manufactured reality.
Right. And that's where things get tricky. Is Christoph a genius or a monster? Is he providing entertainment or exploiting Truman for profit?
It's like a philosophical debate wrapped in a Hollywood blockbuster.
Exactly. And the film doesn't give us easy answers. It leaves us to grapple with these questions ourselves.
I like that. It's not trying to preach or tell us what to think.
No, it's inviting us to engage with these complex ideas, to think critically about the media we consume and the roles we play in society.
I'm sensing a connection here to our own world, our own obsession with reality TV and social media.
Oh, absolutely. The Truman Show is a film that holds up a mirror to our own voyeuristic tendencies, our fascination with other people's lives.
It's like the film predicted the rise of influencer culture, where everyone's trying to create this perfect, curated version of themselves for the world to see.
And in a way, aren't we all performing to some extent? On social media, at work, even in our personal relationships.
It's a pretty unsettling thought.
It is. And that's the power of The Truman Show. It makes us question the nature of authenticity, the boundaries of entertainment, and the role of media in our lives.
Well, I'm definitely starting to see why this film has had such a lasting impact.
It's a film that stays with you. It makes you think, and it makes you question everything.
All right, so we've talked about Truman, we've talked about Christoph, and we've touched on some of the film's deeper themes. Now, I'm dying to hear about Truman's escape. How does he actually break free from this manufactured world?
Well, that's where things get really exciting.
I bet.
So Truman has finally realized the truth. His whole world is a lie, everyone around him is an actor, and his life has been broadcast to the world without his consent.
Talk about a mind-blowing realization.
Right. And at this point, he's done. He's had enough.
So what does he do? Does he confront Christoph? Does he try to expose the show to the world?
He does something even bolder. He decides to escape.
Escape? But how? He's trapped in this giant TV studio, right?
Right. But Truman is resourceful, and he's desperate. He starts testing the boundaries of his world, looking for a way out.
And does he find one?
He does. And it's not what you'd expect.
Okay, now you've really got me on the edge of my seat. Tell me more.
Well, remember how Truman has this deep-seated fear of water?
Yeah, the one that Christoph instilled in him?
Exactly.
Oh, man.
Truman decides to confront that fear. He steals a sailboat and sets sail into the unknown.
Wait, so he's literally sailing away from his fake world?
He is, and it's an incredible scene. The music swells, the camera pans out, and you see Truman's tiny sailboat heading towards the horizon, defying all the limitations that have been placed upon him.
Wow, that's powerful stuff.
It is. It's a moment of pure defiance, a testament to the human spirit's desire for freedom.
So what happens next? Does he make it? Does he escape from the dome?
You'll have to wait for the next part of our deep dive to find out.
Oh, come on. Don't leave us hanging like that.
Don't worry, we'll pick up right where we left off in our next episode.
Well, I guess I'll have to tune in then.
You definitely should, because Truman's escape is just the beginning.
I can't wait.
Me neither. Okay, so last time we left off with Truman Burbank sailing off into the unknown, right? In a tiny little boat facing his biggest fear.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a cliffhanger, right?
Yeah.
What happens to Truman?
Well, you know Christoph. He doesn't just let Truman sail off into the sunset, does he?
Of course not. This is the Truman Show, after all. What does he do?
He throws everything he's got at Truman, right? He creates this massive storm, like a hurricane, practically.
Oh, wow. So he's really upping the ante now.
He is, and it's edge-of-your-seat stuff, right? Truman's little boat is getting tossed around like a toy.
And Truman, he's terrified of water, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is like his worst nightmare come to life. But there's something different about Truman now, isn't there?
Yeah, he's not giving up.
He's not. He's determined to escape no matter the cost. And you can see it in Jim Carrey's performance, right? He's amazing in this scene.
Yeah, he really sells it, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely. And as the storm rages on, Truman, he keeps sailing, keeps fighting. Eventually, he reaches the edge of the dome.
Wait, he actually makes it to the edge of the dome.
He does. It's an incredible moment, visually stunning, right? He sails right into the wall of this painted sky.
So what happens then? Does he break through?
Well, not exactly. He hits the wall, the boat capsizes.
Oh, no.
But Truman, he doesn't give up. He climbs out of the boat, starts walking along this curved wall.
So he's literally walking on the edge of his world.
He is. And the camera pans out, shows you the vastness of this dome, this artificial world that he's been trapped in.
It's got to be a surreal moment for him.
Oh, absolutely. It's like he's seeing his life, his whole reality from a completely different perspective.
And what about Christoph? What's he doing during all of this?
Well, Christoph, he's watching everything from his control room, right? And he's panicking.
I bet he's losing control of his star, of his show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He tries to stop Truman, pleads with him to come back, but Truman, he's not listening.
He's had enough of the lies.
He has, and then comes the most iconic scene in the whole film, right?
The one where Truman says, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
That's the one Truman. He reaches this door, an exit from the dome, and he turns to the camera, knowing Christoph is watching, and delivers that line.
It's such a powerful moment, so full of defiance.
It is. It's like he's saying, I'm not your puppet anymore. I'm taking back my life.
And what about Christoph? How does he react?
He's defeated, right? He's lost his star, his creation. The show is over.
So what happens to Truman? Does he walk through that door?
The film leaves that open to interpretation, right? We see Truman approaching the door, but we don't see him actually walk through it.
Oh, come on. You're killing me.
I know. It's a bit of a cliffhanger. But I think it's a brilliant ending, don't you?
I guess so. It definitely leaves you thinking.
It does. It makes you wonder what kind of world awaits Truman on the other side of that door.
And what about the viewers? The millions of people who've been watching Truman's life unfold.
That's another interesting question, isn't it? The film shows us these snippets of people watching the show, reacting to Truman's escape.
And how do they react?
Some are cheering him on, right? They're happy to see him break free.
But others, I'm guessing they're not so happy.
Right. Some are disappointed, even angry. They want the show to continue. They want to keep watching Truman.
It's like they're addicted to his life.
And that's another layer to the film, right? It's a commentary on our own voyeuristic tendencies, our obsession with reality TV and celebrity culture.
We're so used to consuming other people's lives that we forget that they're real people with real feelings.
Exactly. And The Truman Show forces us to confront that, to question our own role in this whole system.
So what are we left with at the end of the film? What's the takeaway message?
Well, I think it's a film about hope, about the power of the human spirit to break free from its constraints.
Even when those constraints are as all-encompassing as a giant TV studio.
Especially then, it's about recognizing the artificiality of the world around us and choosing to live authentically.
And about questioning everything, right?
Absolutely. We should never take anything at face value. Never stop asking questions.
Well, I think you've given us a lot to think about.
I hope so, because The Truman Show is a film that deserves to be discussed, debated, and dissected.
And rewatched.
Oh, definitely. It's one of those films that gets richer with every viewing.
Okay, before we wrap up, we have to talk about the performances in this film.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey, Ed Harris, Laura Linney, they're all fantastic.
They are, aren't they? Let's start with Jim Carrey because this is such a departure for him, right?
Yeah, he's known for his comedic roles, his over-the-top characters.
And he's brilliant at that. But in The Truman Show, he shows a different side of himself, a more dramatic side.
And he nails it, right?
He does. He captures Truman's innocence, his growing suspicion, his determination to break free. It's a really nuanced performance.
What about Ed Harris as Kristoff? He's pretty terrifying, isn't he?
Oh, he is. He is. He plays Kristoff with this chilling calmness, this godlike detachment.
It's like he really believes he's creating something special, something meaningful, even though it's all a lie.
And that's what makes him so scary, right? The fact that he's so convinced of his own righteousness.
Yeah, it's a performance that stays with you.
It does. And then there's Laura Linney as Meryl, Truman's wife. She has this difficult role, right? Because she's both a victim and a participant in this whole charade.
And she does a great job of conveying that conflict. Right?
Oh, she's fantastic. You can see the struggle in her eyes, the love for Truman battling with the desire to maintain the facade.
It's a reminder that even in a fake world, emotions can be real.
Absolutely. And that's what makes The Truman Show such a compelling film. It blends these big philosophical ideas with these intimate human moments.
And it does it all with a sense of humor, right?
Oh, yeah. There are some genuinely funny moments in this film, moments that make you laugh, even as you're questioning everything you thought you knew. It's
a delicate balance, but the film pulls it off.
It does. And that's a testament to the director, Peter Weir.
Yeah, he's a master of his craft.
He creates this world that's both beautiful and unsettling, familiar, and completely alien.
And he directs the actors with such precision, right? He gets these incredible performances out of everyone.
It's a true ensemble piece. And every character, no matter how small, contributes to the overall impact of the film.
So all in all, The Truman Show is a pretty amazing film.
It is. It's a film that challenges us, entertains us, and makes us think about the world in a whole new way.
And it features a great cast, a visionary director, and a story that's both timeless and timely.
What more could you ask for?
Well, I guess there's only one thing left to say.
What's that?
In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Haha, perfect. So we left off talking about what makes The Truman Show such a great film.
It really is such a well-crafted story. I mean, everything from the acting to the directing to the music, it all comes together to create this incredibly immersive experience.
Right, and for me, it's the themes that really elevate it. You know, it's a film that's both entertaining and thought-provoking.
Yeah, it makes you think about the world in a whole new way.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes it so timeless. It's a film that continues to resonate with audiences today, even more so than when it was first released back in '98.
Because in a way, we're all living in a kind of Truman Show, aren't we? With social media and reality TV and the constant surveillance.
Yeah, it's like the film predicted our modern world, our obsession with documenting our lives and sharing everything online.
And that blurring of lines between public and private.
Yeah.
Right. Where does it end?
Exactly. And I think that's one of the things that makes The Truman Show so unsettling. It holds up a mirror to our own voyeuristic tendencies, our fascination with other people's lives.
But it's not just a cautionary tale, right? There's also a message of hope in there. A message about the power of the human spirit to break free.
Oh, absolutely. Truman's escape is a testament to our innate desire for freedom, for authenticity.
It's like he's saying, I'm not going to live a lie anymore. I'm going to find my own truth, even if it means stepping into the unknown.
And that's a powerful message, I think, especially in a world where we're constantly being told who to be and what to think.
So what do you think happens to Truman after he walks through that door?
Honestly, I don't think it matters. What matters is that he made the choice to leave, to take control of his own destiny.
Yeah, it's about the journey, not the destination.
Exactly. And I think that's a valuable lesson for all of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to be defined by the circumstances we're born into. We can always choose to break free, to create our own path.
So what's the one thing you want people to take away from The Truman Show?
Question everything. Don't take anything at face value. Be critical of the media you consume. And most importantly, trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is.
That's great advice. And I think it applies to so much more than just this film.
It does. It's about being an active participant in your own life, not a passive observer.
Well said. Well, I think we've covered just about everything there is to say about The Truman Show.
We have. It's been a great deep dive.
It has. And I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about.
I hope so, because this is a film that deserves to be discussed and debated long after the credits roll.
So, to wrap things up, if you haven't seen The Truman Show, I highly recommend checking it out. It's a classic for a reason.
And if you have seen it, I encourage you to watch it again with fresh eyes. You might be surprised at what you discover.
And as always, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Let us know in the comments what you think about The Truman Show and what other films you'd like us to deep dive into.
And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more great movie reviews and deep dives into the films that shape our world.
Until next time, keep watching.